Paladins have sworn to protect the innocent, but what did nature ever do to warrant its destruction, its manipulation? It would require a special kind of paladin to step up and fight on behalf of nature. Today we're talking about the Oath of the Ancients Paladin. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Geek Pantheon. I am Eric, and as I just said, we are talking about the Oath of the Ancients Paladin today from the Player's Handbook. And just for a quick overview before we get into the subclass, returning to our subclass deep dive series, still planning on touching on Candlekeep Mysteries, but wanted to bring it back over here for a week just to, remind you all that I still want to do this and that I'm enjoying doing it. Oath of the Ancients Paladin, I have always loved. I think it's one of the most unique subclasses that exists within an existing class that doesn't fight against the overarching archetype of a class, but it adds a unique and distinct flavor to it. All of the other paladins, even if you get kind of tinkery with their alignment, are still very divinely faith-based champions. And Oath of the Ancients, there are gods of nature and things like that, and it makes total sense for them to worship them, but it just feels different to have a paladin that is in tune with nature and the natural world and protecting that, as opposed to just having this moral compass that they try to follow, protecting either the innocence or the interests of their god or what have you. So I really like Oath of the Ancients. It's always been a subclass that I've really been intrigued by and have always wanted to kind of play and get on a table in the right kind of campaign. But overall, I really like it. And yeah, let's get into it. But before we get into the subclass like mechanical bits, I do want to go over the tenets of the Ancients, kind of what the Oath of the Ancients means, because I think it really speaks to who this subclass is. So first off is Kindle the Light, which through your acts of kindness and mercy and forgiveness, you kindle the light of hope in others and kind of push back despair, which I think is really cool. It's not protecting others or being kind towards others in service to your God. It's to lift them up, to bring them joy and light into their life. Next up is Shelter the Light, where there is good, beauty, love. It is your duty to stand against any wickedness that might diminish those things, that might diminish the light in life and leave it, as the tenet says, barren. So yeah, protecting the light in others against any wickedness or despair that might threaten to creep in and harm it. Preserve your own light. This one is really cool and I appreciate it because, self-care is important even for paladins. And this one is all about finding the laughter and beauty and love in your own life so that you can allow the light to grow within you. And this kind of funnels into the next one about being the light, being a beacon of joy and happiness in the world so that you can then lift others up through your own example. So yeah, I love the tenets of this oath and how it's all about just protecting. You're not protecting lives, you're protecting the reason for living. Leaving people alive but still in despair and hopelessness leaves them half healed, half whole, essentially. And this subclass is very much about, no, it is not enough to simply live. There must be light in your life. There must be joy, and it is your duty to bring that to others through your forgiveness, your kindness, your mercy, through your self-care and your ability to exude light yourself. So yeah, it's a distinct flavor for a subclass of Paladin, and I really, really like it. Okay, and then at third level, we obviously get our Channel Divinity when you take this oath. The first one is Nature's Wrath, where you summon forth spectral vines to ensnare foes. As an action, you can cause spectral vines to spring up and form around a creature within 10 feet of you and ensnare them. They have to succeed on a strength or dexterity saving throw to avoid being restrained. And if they are restrained, they get to repeat that saving throw at the end of each of their turns. And on a success, it frees itself and vanishes. So once again, from a flavor standpoint, and there is another channel divinity, but I want to talk about this one first. It very much evokes to me of protecting others while they get away. The ability to stop a foe that is giving chase, that is pursuing others. This speaks very much to that paladin's duty to protect and the ability to stop somebody in their tracks and keep them either close to you so you can fight them, or keep them away from you so that you can usher others to safety. That very much from a flavor standpoint is what this channel divinity ability in the context of the tenets that we just talked about, it really speaks to that. And then the next channel divinity is Turn the Faithless. So this is essentially Turn Undead, but for Fae and Fiends. So make sure in your session 0 that no other party members are thinking about playing a Satyr or any other Fee player character race, because that would kind of be a bummer anytime you use this, of causing your party member to take off and run. But yeah, this, obviously causes them to move away from you. Anybody within 30 feet that fails the wisdom saving throw. And if for their action, they use the dash action, it lasts a minute. All the stuff that the other Turn Undead version does, except this targets Fiends and Fae. Which, yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you are a guardian of the natural world and those that reside in it, then typically you're going to be having Fiend and Fae creatures coming in to mess with that. Obviously, different natural zones are different. There might be aberrations in this one or beasts in the other. But in terms of common foes of the natural world, Fae and Fiends make a lot of sense. And I like this. I appreciate just taking it's I always love from a design standpoint the elegance of just taking a thing that currently exists and just tweaking it a little. Like, we already have Turn Undead. We just want to take this and apply it to Fae and Fiends. Super simple, but I really like it. Additionally, at 3rd level, you get Ensnaring Strike and Speak with Animals added to your Paladin spell list. These two, in terms of ones that you gain at your 3rd level, I mean, they make a lot of sense. Ensnaring Strike is obviously kind of a permutation of your Channel Divinity ability, where when you hit with a weapon attack, you can then cause the restraint condition to happen against just a strength saving throw instead of a strength or dexterity saving throw. So if you have a enemy that you might know has a high dexterity score, and you want to have a better chance of the strength taking hold, maybe use this instead of your Channel Divinity, because this has a higher likelihood in that regard of succeeding. Although if they have a high dexterity, their AC is going to be higher, so on your attack. But anyway, Ensnaring Strike, really like. And then obviously Speak with Animals. Yeah, I mean, an Oath of the Ancients Paladin that resides in nature and tries to protect that part of the world. Being able to speak with animals from a flavor standpoint makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I like it from a mechanic standpoint as well. Okay, and then at 5th level, you get 2 more spells to your Paladin spell list. Misty Step, which this one, I know there's a lot of different ways that you can flavor Misty Step, but for me and the Oath of the Ancients Paladin, absolutely kind of that morning dewy mist that resides in the forest bed and things like that. That would be kind of what I would evoke in terms of what their Misty Steps looks like, of like mist appearing and them just kind of disappearing into a fog and reappearing somewhere else, would really evoke the flavor of this subclass. And then additionally, you get Moonbeam. This one, in terms of the actual utility and kind of the flavor of it, obviously a common foe in the natural world. In addition to Fiends and Fae, are also were creatures. And so Moonbeam being able to revert a shape changer back to its original form, whether they be a Fey creature that can change shape, or a were creature, or a fiend. There are a lot of homebrew fiends I know of that can alter their appearance easily. And so all of those make a lot of sense in terms of having this spell that can really contend with them and fight against them effectively and show their true form. So Moonbeam also, from the function of what this Paladin Oath is meant to do, once again, fits really well and makes a lot of sense. Okay, and kind of a big one here at 7th level, Aura of Warding. So you're the ancient magic that you tap into becomes so strong that you exude an eldritch ward from you, and you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you have resistance to damage from spells. Full stop, period, end of description, which is wild. Not technically in the description. At 18th level, it goes up to 30 feet from you. But the ability to bring your allies close to you and provide them that level of protection, resistance to damage from spells, half damage on any incoming spells is huge. And so, yeah, and then obviously 18th level, and that extends out to 30 feet. So this one is big time for me. If you're considering multi-classing out of this at any point for some reason, I would definitely stick with it until 7th level, at least, just so you can get Aura of Warning, because I think it's that good of an ability to have, just to passively be able to, not only for yourself always is like big enough to where you just have resistance to damage from spells, but then to further extend that to allies is huge. And then at 9th level, you gain 2 more spells. The first one being Plant Growth, which the 2 different utilities of this have obviously creating very thick underbrush that, I mean, like causes somebody's movement speed to be reduced down to 25%. I mean, taking away 75% of somebody's movement speed is a big deal in terms of slowing them down and keeping them close to you, and also having the level of control to not affect allies or to keep yourself with a path forward so that you can easily catch up to somebody is huge. But then also doing it over the course of 8 hours and enriching the land around you and revitalizing what may have before been desolate or barren is also thematically just so cool. That doesn't have as much utility in combat or anything like that, but once again, from a flavor standpoint, very evocative of what you're going for with this sacred oath. And then you also get protection from energy, which for the duration, which is an hour with concentration, you can touch a willing creature, including yourself, and gain resistance to 1 damage type: acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder. Your choice amongst those. And this one, I don't know if I wouldn't use it on yourself that often, because typically when you're having this type of damage coming in, it's from spells, and you already have resistance to that, and you can't like double up on it. So this one doesn't have as much utility unless you have a party member that is consistently far away from you that you can cast on them. Is an option. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it's a good option, but I don't know how much use you're going to get out of this compared to some of the other spells that you're getting. Then at 13th level, you gain 2 more spells. The first one being Ice Storm, good AoE kind of crowd control type spell. It's a good option. It fits pretty well thematically. Obviously, you're controlling the weather at this point, which is part of the natural world, but it's not as thematic as things like Ensnaring Strike or Plant Growth, but it still fits pretty well. And then Kylo, hey bud. And then you also get Stone Skin, which I think is a wonderful addition in terms of what this class already gets, unlike Protection from Energy, because it's kind of redundant a lot of times with Protection from Energy, unless you have a magical weapon dealing that damage type. But with Stone Skin, you just get resistance to non-magical damage in the form of bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. Now, granted, you're at 13th level, so the amount of times that you have non-magical damage incoming might be a little bit limited, but I do like that between your Aura of Warding, Protection from Energy, and Stone Skin, you're pretty well covered in terms of the things that you can protect yourself or others from. You begin to have a lot of utility, I guess, in what you can do and when you choose to do it. Then at 15th level, you have Undying Sentinel, which if you are dropped to 0 hit points and not killed outright, you can instead choose to be at 1 hit point instead. Once you use this, though, you can't do it again until you finish long rest. So the reason it's important that it's a choice, because a lot of people might look at that and be like, why would I choose not to? It's situational. Like if you know that your cleric is still up, or the ranger right near you has a couple of healing potions in their pack and they're going to run over and get you right back up, maybe you hold off on using it in case the fight continues to go south later on, when maybe you're the last one standing and you know that the bad that you're fighting is so close to death and they just get a good hit on you and knock you out, and you can be like, nope, 1 hit point. And then you can get your final attack in, just breathless, take them out, and then you can stand there and cheer. And that would be a really cool moment. And then additionally, you no longer have any drawbacks from old age, and you cannot be aged magically. So if you're a human or just another naturally aging being, you become this literally undying sentinel that ceases to age. Okay, and then at 17th level, you gain 2 more spells: Commune with Nature, which obviously gives you the ability to gain a greater understanding of the surroundings in the natural world. Obviously, it doesn't work if you're in a place where nature has been overtaken by construction, like a dungeon or a town. But if you're in a natural setting, above ground 3 miles, underground 300 feet in every direction, and there is a list of specific things that you can learn and understand about the area. And then Tree Stride, which is a super cool ability. So you can use 5 feet of movement when you cast this spell to enter a tree. And then you know the location of every tree like it within 500 feet, and you can pick a tree to instantly transport and use another 5 feet of movement to end up next to that tree. But there's a concentration spell that lasts for 1 minute, and you can do that once per round. So think about, at the cost of 10 feet of movement per turn for 10 rounds, if we're saying 6 seconds per round, how far you can go. 5,000 feet. You can travel a mile within 1 minute, which you travel 60 miles per hour essentially. So, but yeah, the ability to cover that amount of ground to chase down somebody or get to a town to give a warning or anything like that is huge and super cool. And I really like this ability, and it really kind of evokes that truly one with nature. And like a cinematic view of this being used, I would just see the paladin run, and they run behind a tree and then disappear and appear coming out of another tree way down. And yeah, I really like this spell. I think it's super cool, and I think it's very fitting for the Oath of the Ancients Paladin. Then, like I said before, at 18th level, your Aura of Warding expands to 30 feet around you, where any friendly creatures within 30 feet of you gain the benefit of your resistance to damage from spells. And then at 20th level, your Capstone ability is Elder Champion. So you undergo a transformation to show that you are truly a champion of the natural world. You get to define what it looks like, but as an action, you undergo a transformation that lasts for 1 minute, and you gain the benefits of, at the start of each of your turns, you regain 10 hit points. Whenever you cast a paladin spell that has a casting time of 1 action, you can instead do it as a bonus action. And enemy creatures within 10 feet of you have disadvantage on your paladin spells and your channel divinity options, which, yeah, I mean, that's super cool. It lasts for 1 minute. You can do it once per long rest. So when you're ready to have that mega death option of you're in a big fight or your party is down in a bad way, maybe going back to the Undying Sentinel, you've used that like 1 hit point, and then boom, Elder Champion, and you just go. And you're regaining hit points, you're fighting, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is a great capstone. It really shows. It feels like a big deal when you kind of can transform into becoming one with nature. So I really like it. So playing an Oath of the Ancients Paladin, obviously you have a lot of different options because you're dealing with somebody that is one with nature, in tune with nature. But I think more importantly, as you saw with the Tenets, it's not just about the natural world. It's about keeping the joy and light in other people's lives, and going around doing good deeds, protecting others to make their lives a richer, more full experience. So as opposed to a paladin that might go around killing monsters to protect people with kind of that preemptive, I'm protecting you from things that you will never understand lurk in the night. An Oath of the Ancients Paladin might go to townships all over the countryside and just do good deeds for them. Go help them with things that they need. Deliver a letter to a long lost son. I know it sounds like a mundane life, but this is really kind of the spice of things that this paladin lives for. And obviously, the DM can craft adventures around that. Maybe the long lost son has fallen in with bandits, and or they've been kidnapped. Maybe they were a merchant and they've been taken prisoner, and so you have to go rescue them and deliver the letter. That kind of thing. But yeah, it like this paladin just has a big focus on bringing joy to others and finding joy for themselves also, because that's also important. So when it comes to playing this character, really think about how your character can go that extra step to provide that extra act of kindness or mercy or forgiveness to really bolster the light in other people's lives. In terms of DMing for the Oath of the Ancients Paladin, a big thing is, like we just said with playing them, providing them with opportunities to go that extra mile and really provide the light in other people's lives, of enriching their lives and bringing them joy and bringing them that extra spark and kindling the light in others, but also allowing them to hold up that tenet of self-care. And if you're really pushing the party, go, 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 and never giving them a chance to breathe, which I have run games like that myself, then this subclass is forced to drop one of its central tenets, which is that kind of cultivating the light within themselves. So providing them that opportunity as their form of worship, of going and having a spa day, is an important facet of this character. But beyond that, giving them the opportunity to talk to the people that they're helping, talk to the people that they're rescuing, and really reinforce that idea of sparking the light within them. So what did you all think? Is the Oath of the Ancients sacred oath something that seems interesting to you all to play? Is it something that you want to get on a table? And what subclasses do you want me to jump into next? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.